Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our Shabbat evening service. We begin with a song to welcome Shabbat. Sing along with me. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing Shabbat. And again, come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing Mizmor Shir B'Yom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir B'Yom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. It's good to give thanks, to give praise, and sing songs to your name, Holy One. It's good to give thanks, to give praise, and sing songs to your name, Holy One. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom HaShabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom to our community. We're so happy to be here with you this evening, praying with you and bringing in and welcoming Shabbat. This Shabbat feels a little bit heavy, a little bit necessary. I could really use a little Shabbat in my life. We've got a lot going on this week. In addition to being the week last weekend before this enormous and fraught election, we know that the world is not feeling super safe right now, and that we're increasing our restrictions and distancing ourselves from each other, perhaps more than we had been. And it just feels like there's a lot going on, and there's some other anniversaries and memories that we are holding with us this Shabbat that we'll talk about a little bit more later. And so when we think about the purpose of Shabbat, it's to rest from the work. I don't always know what that means, to rest, but perhaps what we can do is give a little rest to the heaviness, take the weight off for just a little bit that's on our shoulders, and breathe together and sing together and pray together, and then even hold that weight together. So let's all take our big, deep breath, a welcoming Shabbat in. And let's read these words together. Nope, let's light the candles together, and then we'll read some words.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
And now we'll read some words together. Shabbat sings to us as she approaches, an ancient song of joy and desire, a quiet song of hope and anticipation. Together, yes, Shabbat sings as she arrives, her scarves dancing around her in the gentle breeze. Shabbat sings to us when she arrives, a sweet song of love and reunion, a simple song of laughter and surrender. Yes, Shabbat sings with us, joyful, exuberant, as we dance together in the glow of sunset. It is good to give thanks to God.
Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha. Let's sing that one more time. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. On this, the day of days, my lips shall sing your praise, for I know that you'll always be here surrounding me. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. My spirit takes release, I close my eyes in peace, and from my soul heard far above springs a song of love. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. I wish to understand the wonders of your hand, for all the blessings that are mine rise from your design. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodod l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon.
So go with me for a second. Neil's favorite movie right now is 101 Dalmatians, but not the new one. He's really into the old one that I used to watch when I was a kid, because I used to watch it when I was a kid. And so we've watched it about 100 times in the last, couple of months, as toddlers do. And there's this scene in it, as you may remember, if you have seen the original animated version, where the two Dalmatian parents are trying to get the word out that the puppies are missing. And so they go to the park and they start barking. And they're sort of standing on this hill in the dusk, and they're barking. And you see and hear these other dogs in the city start to bark. And they're passing the message, and it gets all the way out into the countryside. And then the deaf colonel is like, what's missing? And okay, I feel like that's exactly what we do every week at Lecha Dodi. here we are. We've just sang two songs, Mizmor Shir and Tov Lahodot, that both talk about the power of singing in Shabbat. And then we get to Lecha Dodi, that our ancient mystics used to stand on that mountain in Sfat in the north of Israel and bring Shabbat in almost physically. And it's as if we use that song, especially when we're separated, to call to each other, to tell each other that Shabbat is coming, that here is this day, this moment that keeps us together. The message maybe gets a little bit lost over the distance, but eventually we get it. And we are all coming together in the same moment, using song to bring in Shabbat, regardless of where we are. We send the message through song that this is what we're doing now, and that we all are in this moment of Shabbat together. And so we sing Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Yishmiyanu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad V'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'necha Ki mekor ha'bracha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Hitoreri, Hitoreri Ki ba'orech Kumi Ori Uri Uri Shir Daberi Kivod Adonai Alayich Nigla Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela We rise either physically or spiritually as we are able, and we face the entrance to our worship space this evening to welcome the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam b'simcha uv'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala, boi chala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala we remain standing as we join together in the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
This is balance. The world is entirely consumed by darkness, then brimming with light. The seasons approach one after the other, bring unbearable heat, bitter cold, and everything in between. Joy fades, loss makes space for growth and new life. Balance is not a perfect blend of extremes. It is something that takes place inside a larger system. It is a perspective, an awareness that makes space for us to fully experience winter and then spring, light and then darkness, darkness and then light. Life of all worlds, thank you for giving us the strength to allow our world, our heart, to be big enough for it all. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world together. In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, to stand face to face with truth. In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Adonai We join together in Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam beshivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. Emet.
Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Kamocha Nedar Bakodesh Nora Tehilot Oseh Pele Nora Tehilot Oseh Pele Who is like you, Adonai?
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. We read together. Guide us with your good counsel for your name's sake. Be our help, shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael va'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shlomeh shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim. May you lay us down, may shelter us in peace until the morning comes. May you lay us down with love, and may you raise us up. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim l'chaim.
Prayer is at the heart not only of great religion, but of significant living. Without prayer, we cannot scale the heights of compassion or reach the peaks of love of our neighbor, of which we are called and capable. Prayer is a step on which we rise from the self we are to the self we wish to be. Prayer affirms the hope no reality can crush, the goal that can never acknowledge defeat. Prayer is not an escape from duty. It is no substitute for the deed. Prayer seeks the power to do wisely, to act generously, to live helpfully. It helps to reinforce the act rather than to replace it. Prayer is the search for silence in the midst of life. Our prayers are answered not when we are given what we ask, but when we are challenged to be what we can be.
We rise either physically or spiritually for the tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Open up my lips and let my mouth declare your praises. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל החיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We take a moment now for the prayers of our heart, and we pray silently.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. One more time. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim.
And so we arrive at our Torah service this evening. We are going to do, for those of you that are with us all the time, you may notice this is a little out of order. We're going to start with our Torah reading and hear the reading of the Torah before we talk about what is in the Torah portion this week. And so it is my great honor to introduce all of those that are going to participate in our service this evening. For our pre and post Torah blessing, Avery Turbo, who is becoming bar mitzvah tomorrow morning, and his dad, Scott Turbo. We're very excited to welcome them to help us celebrate. And for our Torah reading, Chagit Wasserman, who is one of our Torah readers extraordinaire and one of our B'nai Mitzvah tutors and teachers, and an amazing Torah reader. And thank you to Farah Stern, one of our members of the Board of Trustees, who is going to read our translation of our Torah service for us today. And so with that, I turn it over to Avery and Scott for the blessing before the Torah reading.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborah, Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
אמן. ויאמר אדוני אל אברהם, לך לך מארצך וממולדתך ומבית אביך אל הארץ אשר אראך, ואעשך לגוי גדול, ואברכך ואגדלה שמך, והיה ברכה. ואברך מברכך ומקללך האור, ונברכו בך כל משפחות האדמה. וילך אברהם כאשר דיבר אליו אדוני, וילך איתו לוט. ואברהם בן 570 שנה בצאתו מחרן. ויקח אברהם את שרי אשתו, ואת לוט בן אחיו, ואת כל רכושם אשר רכשו, ואת הנפש אשר עשו בחרן, ויצאו ללכת ארצה כנען, ויבואו ארצה כנען. ויעבור אברהם בארץ עד מקום שכם, עד אלון מורה, והכנעני אז בארץ. וירא אדוני אל אברהם, ויאמר לזרעך אתן את הארץ הזאת, ויבן שם מזבח לאדוני הנראה אליו. ויעתק משם ההרה מקדם לבית אל, וית אוהלו בית אל מים, והעי מקדם. ויבן שם מזבח לאדוני, ויקרא בשם אדוני. ויסע אברהם הלוך ונסוע הנגבה. ויהי רעב בארץ, וירד אברהם מצרימה לגור שם, כי כבד הרעב בארץ. ויהי כאשר הקריב לבוא מצרימה, ויאמר אל שרי אשתו, הננה ידעתי כי אישה יפת מראה את, והיה כי יראו אותך המצרים, ואמרו אשתו זאת, והרגו אותי ואותך יחיו. אמרי נא אחותי את, למען ייטב לי בעבורך, וחייתה נפשי בגללך.
Lech Lecha, Genesis 12:1-13. The Eternal One said to Abram, "Go forth from your land, your birthplace, your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and it shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will pronounce doom on those who curse you. Through you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram went forth, as the Eternal had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai, his brother's son Lot, all the possessions they had amassed, and the people they had acquired in Haran. They set forth for the land of Canaan, and they arrived in the land of Canaan. Abram then traversed the land as far as the sacred site of Shechem, as far as the oak of Moreh. At that time, the Canaanites were present in the land. The Eternal now appeared to Abram and said, "I am giving this land to your descendants." Abram then built an altar there to the Eternal who had appeared to him. From there, he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel. He pitched his tent between Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There, he built another altar to the Eternal and called upon the name of the Eternal. And then Abram continued his journey towards the Negev. There was a famine in the land, and because the famine in the land was severe, Abram went down to stay in Egypt. When he had almost reached Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "Look, now I know what a beautiful woman you are. So when the Egyptians see you and say, 'This is his wife,' they may kill me. But you shall keep alive. Please say then that you are my sister, so that on your account it may go well for me, and that my life may be spared because of you."
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Okay. Thank you so much to everybody for your participation and for your beautiful, beautiful Torah reading, Torah blessing, Torah translating. What a gorgeous group of voices that was. So our Parsha this week is Lech Lecha. It is the third Parsha of the Torah. And we have, there's a couple of different sort of pieces or even chunks to this Torah portion. And we have a lot of pieces of the Parsha in our heads that we think about, right? Lech Lecha begins with this instruction from God to Avram at that point, and he says, "Go." God says to Avram, "Go. Go away from this place, away from your father's house, from everything you know, to this land that I will show you. And if you do that, then you will be a blessing. I will make you as numerous as the stars." It's this beautiful promise from God to Avram that something great is going to happen. But there's this huge piece of the story that we often skip over. Actually, there's two. One of them is what Hagit and Farah just read, the story of Avram and Sarai at that point going to Egypt and having to pretend that they are not husband and wife for fear of the consequences. And there's this other part also that we don't talk about, because the beginning and the end, those promises from God are so rich. And so here's this piece that happens in the middle in chapter 14. What happens is that all of a sudden, after Avram has left his father's house and is in the land of Canaan, a rebellion breaks out. And there is a group of 5 kings and a group of 4 kings. And the 5 kings rebel against the 4 kings. One of the 5 happens to be the king of Sodom, which is where Avram's nephew Lot is living. And the 4 kings beat the 5 kings. And it's a big deal because 5 should beat 4, but instead 4 beat 5. And upon losing this battle, one of the losing kings is the king of Sodom, and many of the inhabitants of Sodom are taken captive. One of the inhabitants of Sodom is Lot, who is Avram's nephew. Now, it could have been that on the circumstance of this crazy battle, Lot just disappears as an average captive, except for there is a fugitive from the battle who runs to find Avram and tells him that his nephew Lot has been taken captive. And so Avram gathers an army, if you will, and goes and defeats the 4 kings. So the 4 kings beat the 5 kings, and Avram beats the 4 kings, frees Lot, brings back all of their possessions and all of the spoils of war. And Avram is recognized at the end by the king of Sodom and a priest of Sodom named Melchizedek. Okay, there's 2 pieces of this story that stick out to me. The first is that what you don't know, what happened a little earlier, is that Lot and Avram actually had a falling out. They are both shepherds, and in order to keep the peace, they had to separate themselves because there's a lot of conflict between the shepherds and the sheep and the pastures. And there was a situation of mixed pastures or not having enough land in one place. And so what happens a little bit earlier is that Lot goes and settles in Sodom and Avram goes and settles somewhere else. And so they've sort of, they're not on great terms. And in order to keep the peace, Avram went away from Lot. And yet this fugitive shows up to tell Avram that Lot has been captured. And the text reads, Avram heard that Achi, his brother, was captured. And even though they're a little bit pissed off at each other, Avram immediately assembles his men, 318 of them, for battle. And he's woefully outnumbered. 4 kings beat 5 kings. There are likely a lot of soldiers. But here's something even more. The rabbis teach that the 318 men that Avram assembles are terrified. And Avram tells them that if they are scared, they can go home. And so they do. 1 man goes into battle with Avram, and that is his servant Eliezer. And the reason the rabbis conclude that is because Eliezer, his Hebrew name, we know that all Hebrew letters have gematria, right? They have numerical values. And so Eliezer, the numerical value of Eliezer is 318. And so it's not, in fact, that 318 men go into battle with Avram. It's that this one trusted friend who is equal to 318 goes into battle with Avram. And so really what this story is teaching us is that Avram, in the middle of this Parsha, for family, for his brother of his heart, his nephew Lot, and with family for this one friend that shows up for him, Avram takes this side adventure into beating these 4 kings who beat the 5 kings. It's just him and his closest friend for the purpose of saving this nephew who is his brother. Avram wages war randomly in the middle of this Parsha for his family. And we glossed right over it. And I was thinking this week, I said it was heavy, but it feels to me a little bit like we're like in the middle of a crazy time, in the middle of a war a little bit right now. Got a lot going on. Tuesday marks, please God, the end of this election. We see rising COVID numbers, increased restrictions. Our hospitals are filling up. Quarantine is looming over our heads again. The rights of the LGBTQ community are threatened in light of the new Supreme Court. We have renewed racial justice riots in Philly. There are fires in Colorado and California that just won't stop burning. Another hurricane is making landfall in New Orleans. This week marks the 2-year anniversary of the deadly attack at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. And this week also marks the 25th anniversary of the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. That is enough to bring even the strongest of us to our knees. weakened by fear and anxiety and the worry that things are going to get worse, the worry that we didn't do enough, that we didn't quarantine enough, we didn't stay far enough away, we didn't make enough calls or texts or have enough conversations or donate enough or love enough or ally enough or fight hard enough. Or even more terrifying, that we did and that it didn't matter. But let us not forget, on the eve of this election, in the midst of the pandemic, these anniversaries, these uprisings, these natural disasters, let us not forget that we, like Avram, will go to war for family. Avram left his father's house alone. He has no actual brothers with him, no children, just a nephew that he is estranged from and a lone dedicated servant. And yet for them and with them, he goes to war. And so will we. No matter our differences, perhaps because we are different. When Avram initially gathers his 318 men, the Torah uses the word vayarach, which means in this context to gird. It's not a word that we often use these days. It means like to surround yourself, to prepare for something difficult or challenging. And I'll be honest, it feels a little weird to use it in a sermon because, as you might guess, it comes originally from the word girdle. And it often refers to a belt or a band that is worn around the waist that in fact surrounds and protects some very vulnerable parts. And so it is exactly the right word. Let us surround each other. Let us protect each other. Let us gird, vayarak, for battle. Let us look for those who are vulnerable and enfold them. Let us gird ourselves as we prepare for this week, not with a belt or with armor or with a shield, but with the strength of our community, our family. This next week is one full of the unknown. And just about all we do know is that we don't have to go into it alone. So let me tell you how we wage war. Let me say these things out loud right now. We will wage war with you, our queer and trans community, for your rights. We will rise up with you, our brothers and sisters of color, for justice. We will encircle you, those who are alone and who are getting lonelier. We will care for you, those who are sick or who get sick. We will support you, those who are disappointed in the outcome of the election. We will gather resources for you, those who have lost so much to fire, to a struggling economy. We will pray with you, those who need to pray. We will comfort you, those who mourn. We will be here with you, each of you, because we are family. Like Avram wading into the battle to save Lot, like Eliezer, the only one who stayed by his side, we are family. And the time to join together is right now. This coming week is not the beginning, nor will it be the end. And so no matter the outcome, it represents one of many battles that we have fought and that we will fight so that we can emerge from the darkness of these days together. Today, this week can be a step toward finding the light out of the darkness. If not now, then when? And don't forget, darkness isn't all bad. At the end of Lech Lecha, after this story of the battle, God takes Avram outside and says to him, look toward heaven and count the stars if you are able to count them. And God adds, so shall your offspring be. We think about that promise as a number, as a legacy. There will be so many of us. I think it's not about the number. It's about the promise of family. Even on the darkest of nights, a star never shines alone, but is surrounded by millions of brothers and sisters working together. Even now, out your windows, right this very minute, to bring light into the world when we need it the most.
sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when.
I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll take the journey and walk it hand in hand.
If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment and place or time again. If not now, tell me when. So we'll work till it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that's ever longed for something better, something brighter. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles will happen, every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment in place or time again. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment in place or time again. If not now, tell me when. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when.
And so it is with those beautiful words and thoughts and music in our heads and the hope that now is the time that we pray for those who need healing tonight, now. And as always, we begin with words of prayer and then we pause in the middle to say out loud the names of those that we are praying for. I'll read a list. You add your names out loud in your own homes, in your own hearts, or in our comment box on Facebook so that we can pray with you. The words of the Misha Berach.
Mikor habracha and let us say,
Tonight we are praying for Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, David Lustig, Natalie Mosier, Corey Franklin, Jeff Cohn, David Goldenberg, Stuart Myers, Jerry Butter, Michael Rose, Kathy Steinberg, Catherine Plus, Vicki Adams, Jean Silber, Scott Grant, David Horowitz, Michelle Handler, Violet Franks, Roger Simon, Phyllis Schuldberg Johnson, Fran Haskell, Shanti Hazan, Robert Tucker, Jennifer Brynan, Lynn Pollitt, Lynn McLaughlin Cromar, Cindy Friedland, Dana Huss, Betsy Appel, Robin Huss, Joe Kaufman, Devora Miriam Bat Yehudit, Joanne Wilner Potts, Howard Rosenberg, and Scott Reich. For all others who you are praying for today, say those names, put them in the comments box as we hold them together in our hearts. Baruch atah Adonai Makor HaRefuah. Blessed are you, Adonai, the source of all healing.
Misheberach imotenu Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. As we move toward the conclusion of our service, we remind ourselves that Aleinu, together, it's up to us to bring about the change we want to see in the world. I invite you to rise either physically or spiritually and join me. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim livnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. And we turn now to a moment of memory. As we've already said, this week we marked the 2-year anniversary of the horrific attack at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we remember the 11 souls that perished there. And as we remember, we reflect on the incomprehensible loss of life due to terrorist attacks all over the world, many of which we never hear about here in the United States. There's a list of terror attacks maintained on Wikipedia that is just astounding. Hundreds dead each month all over the world. And in just the few weeks of September and October of 2018, just a snapshot in time, the 7 short weeks preceding the shooting in Pittsburgh, the world witnessed 2 souls murdered in a bomb blast in an internet cafe in the Philippines on September 2nd. Also on September 2nd, 7 souls were lost in Mogadishu, Somalia, when a suicide bomber attacked a government office which caused a nearby school to collapse. 4 souls perished in a blast at a wrestling club in Kabul, Afghanistan on September 5th. And when emergency responders arrived, a second attacker detonated a suicide bomb, claiming 22 additional souls. 2 souls were shot and killed in Tripoli, Libya on September 10th when masked gunmen attacked the headquarters of the National Oil Corporation. 68 souls gathered for a peaceful protest were murdered by a suicide bomber in Jalalabad, Afghanistan on September 11th. 15 souls perished on September 12th when a man in Mishui, China plowed his vehicle into a crowded square. 25 souls lost in a mass shooting at a military parade in Ahvaz, Iran on September 22nd. 2 souls, factory workers in a West Bank industrial zone, died when a gunman opened fire with an improvised submachine gun on October 7th. 9 souls, farmers, including women and children, were killed in Sagay, the Philippines, on October 20th. 2 souls, elderly African Americans shopping at a Kroger store in Jeffersontown, Kentucky, were gunned down on October 24th. And then the incident that struck closest to home for us, 11 innocent souls murdered when a gunman entered the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania during Shabbat morning services on October 27th. 2 and 7 and 4 and 68 and 15 and 25. The Talmud teaches that saving one life is equal to saving the entire world. Taking one life is the equivalent of destroying the entire world. One is everything. One soul, just one soul, and the world moves on. We are shocked by the scale of terror. The 68 and the 15 and the 11 with a plus sign next to it because, well, it's just tough to get an accurate count in so much death. One is everything. Each one a human, each one a life. One is enough to cry out to heaven. When we count the scope of terror, the range of death, remember too the injured and the wounded, the witness and the bystander, the first responders and the families. One is 100 witnesses. One is 1,000 mourners. One is 10,000 traumas. One is a soul God sent to this earth. One is everything. A priest doing holy work, a boy studying Torah, a girl sleeping in her bed, a woman in prayer. One soul, one heartbeat, one more, too soon. God of consolation, every soul is yours, a world unique and holy. Let your peace reign quickly among us. Let violence, hatred, and terror vanish. Let your comfort descend from heaven, and let the righteous rest in peace.
We add to those numbers the names of those that we are remembering on this Shabbat, those we have lost in the last week, Lisa Schimmel, those who have died in the last 30 days, Maxine Devine, Ann Clemens Harrison, Paul Kamensky, Sheldon Levy, Thelma Teitelbaum, and Arlene Wedgel. And we add all of those to the list of those for whom this is the Yortzeit, the anniversary of a death in seasons past. Jerome B. Abelman, Marcus Alexander, Anna Bauer, Herman C. Berman, Harry I. Berry, Sidney Black, Stanford D. Blecker, Larry Bodanis, Jack B. Bogdanowitz, Jeanette L. Cohen, Ben Cook, Sam Davidson, Marcus Frankel, Hannah Crome Friedman, Irvin Furman, Sophie Frumis Goldberg, Barry Goralnik, Flora Goslinski, Selma Fist Grauman, Anna K. Grimes, Harvey Kadish, Sidney P. Cohn, Abe Kurtz, Robert Cusick, Fred Levy, Barry Levine, Dora R. Lewin, Lillian Minnie Lewis, John C. Livingston, Randy Annette Annette Ochner, Gustav J. Ornauer, Sadie Raab, Eugene A. Rosenberg, Jack Rosenberg, Molly Schnitzer, Molly K. Schwartz, Rachel N. Schwartz, Sam Schwartz, Ruth G. Sherbach, Francis R. Schucker, Eleanor Shulkin, Sarah Schreiber, Nathan Seiden, Joseph Sigmund, Frida Sloven, Harriet Sobel, Stanley L. Solomon, Samuel J. Stein, J. Steiner, Rose Stern, Sydney Stillman, Elizabeth Fine Stryker, Esther F. Stryker, Rose R. Stuhlbarg, Sam R. Sugarman, Carl E. Sussman, M.D., Carl L. Tucker, Seymour L. Weil, Aaron Weiss, Betty Zone, Ann W. Zubro, Ruben A. Zubro. And we add to that list 10 more names, 10 more souls from the city of Kolín in the former Czechoslovakia that perished in the Holocaust: Oscar Arnstein, Pavel Arnstein, Anna Arnsteinova, Dr. František Ascherman, Anna Bashova, Marta Bauerova, Alfred Beck, Arnost Beck, Peter Beck, and Anna Bekova. And we add to those names all of those that are in your hearts and your minds on this Shabbat as you remember all that you have lost. And I invite you to rise physically or spiritually if you are in a period of mourning. And now we all rise as we can and join you as we say together the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei uvyomei uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulealmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen.
So long as we live, they too shall live. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. As we remember, we remember, we remember.
We talked about the heaviness of this Shabbat. It's a lot to hold. And yet, what we Jews do with heaviness is throw it over our shoulder, carry it, and go on, because there's not much else to do. And we have a long and rich tradition and history of celebrating and functioning even when things feel hard. And so with that, tomorrow is another day. Shabbat continues, and there's a lot of beautiful and happy things that are happening this Shabbat that we are so excited to celebrate. The first thing is that we are going to be celebrating Avery Turbo becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Steve and I, we cannot wait. Avery is awesome. And so if you are joining us for that, that will be on our Facebook B'nai Mitzvah page, and it will be on our website, channel 2. At 11:30 with Avery, who's going to rock it. The rest of Shabbat is also happening. At 9 o'clock in the morning, we have Young Family Shabbat with Rabbi Black. and likely Bobka the dog. That will be on channel 1 and the main Facebook page, as will the rest of what I'm about to say. Torah study at 10 o'clock with Cantor Sachs. You either signed up for the Zoom or you can watch it on Facebook or the website, channel 1. And at 11 o'clock, the community service with Rabbi Black and Cantor Sachs on Facebook or channel 1. And then at 7 o'clock, Havdalah, because Shabbat sadly does end every week, with Steve, channel 1 of the Facebook page. Upcoming things to note. Don't forget, we sent out a big email this week that the building remains closed, but we are open. So we will see you here for processing whatever the heck happens this coming week, next Shabbat, don't forget. And if you need us, please reach out, care@emmanueldenver.org. You can reach the clergy that way. Or if it's an emergency, go on the website and find the clergy emergency cell phone and call us. We're here for you whenever you need us. We know that this is hard. Keep your eyes on the e-notes for the latest updates, and check us out for lots of live and pre-recorded things that are coming out in the next little bit. Steve, did I miss anything?
I don't think so, Rabbi. You covered it all.
I covered it all. Well, let's say Kiddush. How do you feel about that?
That's a great idea. If you have, I don't actually have a glass of wine tonight, but oh, wow, that is you. If you have a glass of wine or a grape juice or any other grape product, please raise it high and join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. And I've been waiting for the challah fairy to come and visit, but I guess she's not going to make it tonight. I know the bread machine was going earlier in the afternoon, so maybe at some point I'll have challah, but I don't have it now. But this is actually a photograph of my wife's amazing, beautiful challah. So join with me as we recite Hamotzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And as we lech lecha, as we go forth into the unknown of the week to come, all we know is that we must work together to build a world of love, a world of fairness, a world of justice, a world of peace. Olam chesed yibaneh, let us all build that world together. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. 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 Chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai.
A closing prayer for the Shabbat before the election by Rabbi Joe Black. Our God and God of all people, God of the right and God of the left, God of the Democrats and God of the Republicans, God of the undecided and the underwhelmed. On this Shabbat of Lech Lecha, where we retell the story, our ancestors' journey of discovery, we as a nation stand at the precipice of an election, fraught with divisiveness and tension. As Abram and Sarai ventured forth into unknown territory, we too are navigating a perilous course. We see the demonization and dehumanization that these past months, weeks, and days of fevered campaigning have brought forth. We cannot remember a time that we have seen such division. We are exhausted and fearful of the ugliness that surrounds us. God, help us see the beauty in one another. May our partisanship give way to partnership as we work to rebuild our trust in our nation and in ourselves, regardless of the outcome of the polls. Help us to keep faith in both our election process and in you, the source of hope and good in the world. May this election help to heal the wounds that our nation has experienced. May hubris give way to holiness. May we build our world from love. And let us say Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.